On this set of words, we're looking at revising the soft C sound, which is represented by a C followed by an I, E or a Y. So it's when the C says S. So just go through and highlight the CE in each of these words, or the CI. And down here we're looking at the English rule, which says that S actually says Z most of the time, and it's quite often followed by an E on the end of a word. So you can hear it in advertise, compromise, and other words like because, etc. So do remember that. It's about 70% of the time that S may say Z. So let's go through and have a look at what each of these words mean. So excel means to be exceptionally good or proficient at something. Decent means conforming to generally acceptable behaviour or satisfactory. Police means the civil force responsible for the prevention and detection of crime and maintaining public order. To celebrate is to acknowledge an event with a social gathering or an activity. Innocent means not guilty of a crime or offence, a naive person. Ulcerate means to develop into or become affected by an ulcer, which is an open sore which fails to heal. Medicine is the practice of diagnosis, treatment and prevention of disease. It can also be a preparation for the treatment or prevention of disease. Represent is to be entitled or appointed to act or speak for someone in an official capacity. It can also mean to amount to, so you might use it in a sentence such as, this figure represents. Another meaning could be to depict something in a work of art, and another meaning would be to state or point out something clearly. Now, advertise is to draw attention to a product, service or event to the public to promote sales or attendance. And a compromise is an agreement or a settlement of a dispute reached by each side making concessions. It can also mean accepting the standards that are lower than expected, wanted or desired. And it can also mean to bring into danger by foolish behaviour. In the first set of words here, we're revising that a C followed by an E or an I or a Y makes the C make its soft sound S. So go through and highlight any of those pairs that you can see in these words. Then the last three words are revising that S may say Z most of the time. So particularly at the end of a word when you've got SE, we commonly use CE for the sound at the end of a word and SE for the Z sound at the end of a word. The other reason we'd have SE at the end of a word, and if you find that the S is saying S, is just to show that it's in its singular form, not a plural. So what you have to do here is write a list word that means. We went through the meanings yesterday, so if you're still a little unsure, go back to day 1 video and watch that again. Then fill in the gap with the missing list word. Finish and explain the meaning. Something is a lamb. So by the time you've gone through the words, you'll work out which word would best suit that say. And a taste of one's own, what would be the missing word there. You may need to discuss those within your group. Now use these words in a sentence that show their different meanings. We discussed decent yesterday. Now this one is descent. So descent means that it could be a downwards movement, and it can also mean a person's family or ancestors. So you may say you're a descendant of whatever your surname is, family. So my surname is Bradley, so I'm a descendant of the Bradley family. Anyway, you can write your own sentences here to show that you know the meanings, different meanings of those two words. You get to read the words, cover them, write them and check them, and if you've made a mistake, rub it out and write the word again. Down here you have to combine with the list word, so we're looking for common word pairs using the words above, Antonyms mean the opposite, so you've got to find a list word that means the opposite to the given 3 words. Now fill in the missing words using a list word or verb extension, so you know you're going to be using words up here that can be used as a verb, and make sure you pay attention to whether it's past, present or future tense, and add the correct extension to the word. Now write these words in a sentence. You're going to have to work out whether they are nouns, verbs, adjectives or adverbs, so you use them correctly in a sentence. Don't hesitate, or please try to write an interesting sentence with lots of adverbs and adjectives in them. Today's page we're introducing you to the use of a semicolon, which is a dot with a comma below it. So a semicolon is used between 2 independent clauses where you might otherwise put a full stop to show that the ideas in the 2 clauses are very closely connected. So for example, you could have Jessica loved that film, full stop, she went to see it twice and bought the DVD. Or you could take away the full stop, take away the capital letter for the start of the next sentence, so the S in she will become a lowercase, and put a semicolon between those 2 sentences to make them into one sentence. So rewrite the sentences replacing the full stop with a semicolon and removing any unnecessary capital letters. So that of course means the capital letter that follows the full stop. Down here. So change the full stop into a semicolon and add an independent clause. So we're just adding to the task a little bit. And the alert is make sure you add something that closely connects to the first independent clause. So these sentences are all starting with an independent clause. You've got to change the full stop to a semicolon and add another independent clause that closely relates to the first part of the sentence. Down the bottom, we're extending the activity further, and we want you to write 3 sentences that are made up of 2 independent clauses with a semicolon between them. Now the 2 independent clauses, once again, have to be very closely connected sentences.